Bonjour mes amis, et bienvenue au Pendu dans le Cercle de Lune. Hello friends, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know from my attempt at a French introduction that this is my series in which I use Terre de Marseille adjacent, and antique Italian decks to help me explore a central message which I could pull out of the larger weekly spread. And I've done that larger weekly spread. And if you haven't seen that larger weekly spread, I'll put a card up here for you to be able to hop on over and take a look at that. Yeah, I've got a brand new spread that I've been using based on the Thoth lust card. Now don't get freaked out by the word lust, but it's I asked the Harris Crowley deck to help me find a card that would inspire a spread for me, and that was the card that was offered, and it's a very interesting spread. I highly recommend it. So I would say go take a look at that spread first, and remember, you don't have to watch that spread in its entirety. You can watch it in bits and pieces and come back here. That's absolutely allowed. And when you are back here, thank you for returning. Just in case you would like a little bit of a recap from this larger weekly spread, and it's not as large as some of my other larger weekly spreads, but still, the entire spread seemed to be about change, right? I think I titled it Satisfaction Through the Process of Change. That title may change before I actually upload the video, but that's what I'm thinking of right now. Satisfaction through the process of change. And we are asked to enjoy that which we have, enjoy the emotional and material things that we have available to us, but rather than finding ourselves or becoming attached to them, we want to prepare for the change that is a-coming, that we want to come. And hopefully we can satisfy ourselves through the change process instead of frightening ourselves through the change process, if that makes sense. So that was this main idea for this week's spread. And I did bring up the idea of the law of attraction, where some teachers of the law of attraction will very blatantly say that we should not pay attention to what is, because if we pay too much attention to what is, we will only get more of it, we won't evolve. And there's some truth to that. There's some truth to not harping on and being absolutely attached to, especially the problems of that which is, those things that we want to change, like, oh, he's always doing this to me. Why does she always say this to me? Why is my boss always like this to me? Why are the customers, etc., etc. Now, instead of giving attention to that, we want to give attention to where we are moving towards, the lives, the evolution we're in the process of moving toward. Truth, absolute truth. However, we want to give appreciation for those things that we have, especially those things that we are able to give appreciation for, like the clothes that we have, the homes that we have. If they're not the ones that we wish we lived in, still we can find appreciation for what is, and giving that appreciation for what is not going to prevent us from our evolution. And I think that's what this week's Tarot and Oracle spread is pointing towards. It's having pleasure and allowing ourselves the pleasure of what is right now, both emotionally and in our resources, without getting attached, and moving forward, doing the work that will carry us through the oncoming change. Does that make sense? I hope it does. If it doesn't make sense, let me know in the comments below. If it does make sense, also let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. So friends, what are we going to do now? I'm going to show you this week's basically Tarot de Marseille spread. I'll show you the cards, I'll show you the question that I ask every week, and then we'll talk about it. Are you all ready? Here we go. Here are the cards. What do you think of this deck? This is one of my two travel decks for Terre de Marseille. One is my smaller Noblet Tarot, and this is my larger Dodal Tarot. Both of them produced by Flournoy, and they both have leather cases that you can purchase for them, which is why they're my travel decks. They are in leather cases, and so I feel very happy bringing them along with me. And this is a larger deck than the Noblet, but I love both of them. It's a TDM1, yeah, rather than a 2, if that means anything to you. And I love it. I love the redrawing of it. I like Flournoy's work. And so if you want to get this deck, it is still available. I'll put a link in the description box below. The Oracle deck you also saw below is available. I'll put a link in the description box below. So let's start off with the tarot cards at the top. You saw from left to right, we had the Page of Wands, the Ten of Cups, and the Star, which seemed really appropriate as a recap of this week's larger spread. Especially since we had the Ten of Cups in the larger spread for this week. The Ten of Cups was in the place for the saint, the holy one, the virtuous one. Yeah, we are now the Ten of Cups in the Thoth system and the Ten of Cups in the TDM system. I read completely differently, just so you know. But still, it was a nice echo. And we also have the Star card, right? The Star card, which is often associated with Aquarius, I believe. But for me, it's just looking at the card. There's so much water in the card. The Ten of Cups and the Star card really bring forward the amount of water that was in the larger spread from this week. So we have that. We start off with this very sweet looking Page of Wands here. Yeah. And the Page of Wands, if you noticed, was facing the Ten of Cups. So the Page of Wands is holding this big old stick in his hands, and he is looking at the 10 cups off to the right. Right does not start with a lull, does it? The right. And the Page of Wands is the card or the personage of exploration, of excitement, of something new, of freedom from the old. But look at this stick. Now this stick is really unwieldy, right? So there's a sense of, yeah, this is really exciting, but what am I going to do with this? So there's a little bit of hesitation here. Hesitation between doing and not doing. Creating and not creating. Because you got to say, this stick is big and it's unwieldy, and what am I going to do with it? I said that again. So in this card, in this personage, the energy needs to be channeled into something, towards something. There's a need for refinement. The guy's got to grow up and figure out what to do. And so where is this person being us, I believe, this person's attention going here? It's going towards a beautiful card rendition of the Ten of Cups. And you notice the big cup at the top, which could be pouring stuff on the cups below. So here we have ideas of finding peace, feeling completion, right? The tens are completion, right? Preparing for the next steps. Completion indicates the preparation for the next cycle or the next movement of the elements. We could be in evolution in our emotional life here as well. We could be moving back up to the Ace of Cups rather than on to something like the swords or the coins next. We can assume responsibility for ourselves and others here as well. There's a sense of being the emotional leader in this card as well. Being the leader of others, leadership. A person with special qualities or abilities that receives appreciation because they pour those out on those around them. And taken to an extreme, this is like a universal Christ-like love. Now, the heart has attained fullness and is so full and has the potential to now consecrate the actions that are being taken and consecrate those around them. thus giving us the idea of leadership as well, but also the blessings bestowed, the blessings of love bestowed on others. So that's what the page has in mind, and that's a really big ask for this kid holding this big old stick. But there is, in the long run, hope. Now the star card is on the other side. So the long, what do we call that? The long game is a game of hope. A game of purification, of purifying the self, and regeneration from the steps that we are taking. Because every step that we take in the path of the Ten of Cups is going to drain our energy and sometimes can be wounding. And so regeneration is also called forth on the path. We have hope, we have renewal, we have faith, we see success, we have luck. And we're showing and accepting ourselves as we are. This lady is not covering herself up at all. Yeah? We are able to be vulnerable in the positive sense of vulnerability. Allowing ourselves to be fully seen. And we can feel guidance from a quote-unquote above, from the eternal natures that we are, from that quote-unquote higher place from above, although I think those adjectives are not helpful very much. It's not above, it's not higher. It's the eternal nature, the non-physical nature, which is everywhere, above, below, right, left, behind, forward, everywhere. So there's a sanctification of place here as well. Now, where we are is sacred. Who we are is sacred. Which helps, and the North Star, our personal North Star, draws us in the direction of this thing that we've got our minds and hearts set on. Which will involve change, which I believe is the main message for this week's spread. Now below these three cards, these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful little cards, we have three cards from the Oracle de Lune, which I still think is now my favorite oracle deck. I also like Patrick Valenza's, my favorite oracle deck to use with Terre de Marseille. The drawing style is harmonious to me, and you saw from left to right, we had card number 1, the key, and we had card number 51, which is close to the end, the wheel, and then we had the blue card, which is the very, 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 very end. But let's start with the key. Lovely key. Lovely, lovely key. The small title on the side of the key card is La Destinée, which you could probably know is destiny. Now it's interesting that the original creator of this deck, who is called Belin as a pseudonym, inscribed one of his other pseudonyms, Edmund, on the side of the key. Probably you won't be able to see it here, but it's right there, Edmund. Yeah, so the key, this oracle is the key. The creator of this oracle is also the key. And in this association, the creator associated himself with the divine creator, which is interesting. Maybe a little bit hubristic, but still. We're all associated with the divine nature of all that is, because that is all that is, and we are that. We are the divine nature. So maybe it is not hubristic, maybe it's just truth. But not truth as opposed to who you are or I am, right? We're all associated with and inextricably united with, one with, the divine creator. And so, this is emphasis on the next card. This card gives emphasis on what's coming next. There is no astrological association with this card. There are 3 cards, I believe, that have no astrological association, and this one points to the next card as being, yes! Yeah? And it might be calling us to making a decision. We might need to give attention to whatever that next topic is. And the next topic is this card, which is not the most positive card in the deck, though it's not the most negative. This is the Wheel. It's associated with Saturn, one of those badass, hard-nosed planets, right? Not one of the beneficent ones. The side title is retard, which means delay. So delays and inconveniences are indicated in this card, and so part of our movement forward is going to include some delay, probably. Possibilities are valuable, but currently unfulfilled. We're not there yet. However, we might slip into avoidance, and that's something we want to be careful of. We don't want to slip into avoidance and stalling our own progress. Now, there could be some delays, but we don't want to become the delay ourselves. The astrology here, the secondary astrology, is Mars. So Mars with Saturn cools Mars energy. Mars is fiery, powerful, move forward, let's do it, let's get going, right? And Saturn is like, not deflate so much, but cools Mars down. So the delays could be a benefit actually here, rather than going off half-cocked. You know what that means, hopefully, yeah? Rather than firing our cannons before we are properly aimed, now the delay could have a benefit. And we have the next card to add our drive for action. And what is that next card? The next card is the blue card, which is very similar to that white card that we saw in the larger spread this week, which was that white yes card. So here we have the blue card, which is, blue is an ethereal color for the creator, for Berlin. It's a transition card. The door to the other side, to the other realm, to the next level, the next step, the next stage of evolution. It gives positive influences and healing to whatever is around it. So these delays end up being more beneficial to us in the long run. We get a little bit of time to consider, to pause, to enjoy our satisfaction, to rise up and take a higher bird's eye view, and to go within and move towards the center of the wheel of change. Now this is the big yes card from the Surfer's Paradise Tarot. Very similar to this. So the big yes and the big key seem to be delays. Now that's not a really happy sounding message, is it? But in our movement from the Page of Wands to the Ten of Cups and engaging our hope and following our North Star, it's not going to be a path of here to there, non-stop. Rather, it's going to involve delays, like the snake, which moves forward but is moving in undulations, right? Which was indicated in the Death card in this week's larger spread. So change, yes. Movement forward, yes. Not quickly, not without delay. And those delays that we experience are potentially very positive if we allow them to be positive, if we allow them to be beneficial for us. Yes? That makes sense, I hope. If it does, let me know in the comments below. If it does not, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. I say that always, and it's true. I'd love to hear from you. And I would also like to express my appreciation to all of you who have hit that thumbs up button and have subscribed to the channel, because it helps other people find the channel, which is nice for me, but it's also nice for them. Now, they might not even know that we here exist if you don't do those little things which allow YouTube to say, show this video to somebody else. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. And if you want a private reading from me, my email address is below. thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. We'll get you a reading. So So friends, here we are at the end. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for walking through this lovely spread with the Dodal Tarot by Flournoy and the Oracle Beline. And I look forward to seeing you again next week, probably in a very different location. So come back and see where we are. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.